Hello YouTube, Reddit Math here, and welcome back to Jagged Alliance 2. We're just going to dive right into the action this time after so much character creation last time. We'll just start advancing time and it'll immediately move us into the drop zone. Now, right at the beginning here, we're going to have our characters coming in on a helo, and they're going to be landing in a zone with some enemy presence in it. Now, just to remind everybody kind of what's going on, we've been tasked by Arulco to find this Miguel guy, the leader of a rebel faction here in the country, and that he's supposed to be able to give us some help. So he's supposed to be somewhere around Omerta, and as we drop in from our magical invisible shadow helicopter, we are going to have to do a little bit of exploring for him. Now, as soon as the helicopter gets off screen, we're going to be notified that there are enemies present.
Get ready. They're here.
Like so. Now, really quickly here, what I'd like to do is our character starts with a backpack on, so I want to go ahead and get rid of that, and then we would like to get into some cover just as quick as possible. So we're going to select everybody, and then, oh, maybe not inside the building, we'll just have them move towards this building over here. And then we're going to fan out just a little bit. I'm going to have Bull
Get ready. They're here.
Maybe I'm not. My misclick was costly. Let's see. Bull and Fox have both spotted this guy. Now, the way this is going to work... Okay, so we're in a tactical RPG, right? We've got action points here for everybody as long as we're in turn-based mode. So this is largely dependent on like a character's agility, their experience level, their overall energy, which is kind of the fatigue metric going on, that sort of thing. Bull isn't quite as agile as everybody else, so he's starting with a little bit lower, and Fox is extremely agile, so she starts with 100. Now, as we mouse over a character, we get this little aiming crosshair, and I can right-click to spend additional points and aim in. Eventually it'll turn yellow when like I'm at the maximum amount that I can aim, and the little bar above the aiming reticle fills up, telling me how likely I am to actually land anything. And now what I'm noticing here, I'm not very likely to land anything. So I'm thinking I don't really want to engage under these circumstances. Now we don't have to use characters in any specific order, so I'm going to move Fox out of the way.
Standing by.
I'm going to move Grizzly out of the way. Also, with like R, I can move them into run mode, which is a little bit faster and uses up a little bit less AP.
What's up?
And then I'm going to end up pulling Bull back. I can get him all the way over here. Oh, but that gave the enemy there an opportunity to interrupt. Ooh, that's very close. That was also very close. Okay. Thankfully, we made it out of that by the skin of our teeth. And Bull is able to get away over here. Now, he's now down to 26. He's unlikely to be able to shoot or anything. I'm going to have him kneel down. And then...
Standing by.
Our character... Gonna move up like 2 spots here. I'll have him run to here. And I'm probably don't need to have him crouch. We're gonna have him aim in at the door. That way anybody that comes around this way is likely to get interrupted. And then let's go ahead and have Grizzly pop out. We'll turn him this way as well. And we're gonna leave everybody like this. These guys should be like in this general area. We don't have any visibility, so there's not exactly a fog of war, but we can't see any enemies or NPCs or anything that we don't have eyes on. Obviously, we can see like the entirety of the map ahead of time. So when I say fog of war, that's not entirely accurate.
What's up?
Now, Bull here, can I have him kind of inch forward a little bit? I'm concerned about people coming around this way, and
Standing by.
so I want him to be up there to be ready. And then we'll just inch everybody else up a little bit here. So we'll get Grizzly up to here.
You called?
Now Fox, go ahead and run around this corner.
Aggressors.
Okay. And she gets spotted by a guy across the street. He does get an interrupt. Nope, he does not get an interrupt. Okay. That is a little bit of a UI problem
Standing
then.
by.
Okay, so they didn't come through the building itself, which was one of the things I was kind of planning for. So I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and run up to here.
Damn.
Okay. There were characters coming up. I tell you what then. We'll run up to here. I'm going to crouch, which is going to also increase my chance to hit pretty significantly. And then if I take 32 there, you're going to notice, so I've got 62 total. 32 is a little bit more than half. But I've also got to ready the weapon. So if I take one shot at 32, and then my next shot, I'm going to be able to take it 30 with an almost guaranteed chance. And that guy is going down. Awesome.
You called?
Alright, now she can still see that guy over here. Let's go ahead and move up just a little bit. And then, let's see if I remember all of the hotkeys. It is F. There we go. So, you'll see over here on the left the gun range. 23 of 11. So, the pistol only has 11 tiles of range before it's considered, out of range of the weapon. You can still hit with those. There's still like a physics-based system going on where it's kind of rolling the dice as to where it goes, but your chances get very, very low that it goes where you want it to. Which means I feel like it'd be more a waste of ammo than anything to start popping off shells here. So instead we're going to have her come up and then crouch, which is going to make her a little bit harder to hit. And then we'll go ahead and pass this turn. So it becomes important, to leave characters with plenty of APs left over. We're looking for interrupts to come in on our turn. Any characters that might come into view, we might get to take a shot at, that sort of thing.
You called? I have an encounter.
Like so. Now we saw this guy, which gives us an interrupt, but we don't have to shoot at him. It's only 16 away. Tell you what, since it's the enemy's turn, I'm going to go ahead and burn the rest of my AP here. I'll get most of it back at the start of my own turn. And then, not enough AP to do anything else. So we'll just go ahead and let them continue. Now, obviously this is kind of the first mission. There's not really a tutorial at all in Jagged Alliance 2. But this is as simple as it's ever going to really get. There's probably like 4 enemies total in this zone, if I had to guess. So we shouldn't have too much trouble taking these guys down. And pull Grizzly up to here. And we'll go ahead and have him turn this way and then just ready his weapon. You'll notice the pistol only costs 1 to ready. That is kind of its advantage over larger weapons like the shotgun and the submachine gun that our other characters are carrying. It is very worthwhile to have like a backup sidearm type thing, because you'll get into situations where you don't have enough AP to take a shot with the assault rifle. Like, you can't ready it in time, but you could transition to the pistol and still get a shot off. That's going to be a little bit out of range as well, this only having 17. So what we can do is pop up into a run, do a little I'm up, he sees me, and I'm down. And then we should still have just enough to take a shot. It's not very good odds, but the game does have a suppression modeling system where basically bullets that are passing near you cause you to lose action points. I think it's a pretty decent facsimile of what it's trying to mirror there, which is just as you get shot at, your own ability to respond gets a lot lower. If we had somebody with fully automatic weapons fire shooting at these guys, they basically would be losing their turns because they just wouldn't be able to pop up safely. And that makes a lot of sense to me. As somebody who has survived combat, that's pretty accurate. That when lots of bullets are coming your way, it gets a whole lot harder to shoot back. Now, you did see we did get a hit there. I also didn't spend any action points aiming for any of those. The reason behind that, we're out of range, and so any kind of bonus we would gain to our chance to hit is minimal outside of our range. And so I'd rather basically have the 1% chance to hit just over and over again than I would like to have like a 2% chance to hit by spending significantly more AP. I'd rather be able to get an additional shot off, basically. They are going to be able to return a little bit of fire. Oh, that looked really close. Okay. Thankfully, it barely missed. And our wounded enemy here, he's not going to be nearly as good at shooting back. As you take damage, you pretty quickly become fairly useless. And,
Standing by.
No. I'll save that till the end. So let's see. Bull didn't end up encountering anybody up here, so we're going to go ahead. I want to get him pushed up quite a bit. I'll have him run to, like, up here. Keep a pretty wide angle so that he can get kind of a little bit of a flanking action going on against these guys. I'll have him push up to here, which I think should keep him out of their visibility. But I am going to go ahead and have him crouch, as we know there's another guy out here, and if he comes around this way, I don't want to be standing up and such a large target. Okay, these guys are a little bit out of our range, by like 3. So if we just get a little bit closer here, I can then crouch, and barely. But I can only see his head. You'll notice the aiming reticle turns black as I move back down into the torso, and heads are tiny and harder to hit. But it's basically the only thing we can see of the enemy here is just the top of him. Okay, and that's due to him, you know, crouching behind a window and shooting out of it. Okay, and of course they are yelling various slurs back at us. It's okay, they're not going to break our morale with just their mean words. See what? We will, let's see, if we take that shot, chance to hit goes up to 16. And, okay. I also will point out some of those like chance to hit numbers, they're not perfect. They're actually dependent on the character who is taking the shot. I believe mostly their experience level comes into play there. Probably also like their intelligence. You're also going to have noticed earlier, Fox was the only one who knew exactly how many bullets she had. Everybody else was questions. That is also based on traits. And right now, I believe M is supposed to represent like medium. So she knows she's got like about half of her magazine left, whereas Bull, Grizzly, and Coyote have all sort of completely lost count in the heat of the moment. They no longer remember how many bullets they have. So like he says 0% from here, but that is extremely unlikely to be the actual case. However, one other thing I would like to demonstrate is I do have a submachine gun. I do have the ability to burst fire, or fully auto fire, which is actually what I'm going to be doing here. And I mentioned earlier the suppression system in the game, and so I want to show that off for just a second. We'll take like an 8-round burst at this guy. And none of those rounds connected. But, there we go. It did force him to change stance. He dropped to the dirt, basically. Which is kind of an uncontrolled action. Even if he didn't have enough AP, he still would have done that, which could have driven him into the negative for his next round. So eventually, like if you have, you know, there's no illusion that you're going to be a single guy taking on like 12 enemies all at once, just because the sheer amount of lead they'll be able to send in your direction It'll sort of ensure you're never getting to take actions, or at the very least taking very bad actions every turn. And I really like that system. I think it models what's going on in a combat situation fairly well. It makes suppressing fire like an effective tactic. Later on, as we're gonna see, you know what, could I get, I don't really want to be like way out in the street like this. I'm gonna try to run up and just get a good angle where I'm not visible to any of these guys. Yeah, and that's looking pretty good. It makes later on the what do I want to do here, actually?
You call?
Later on, the machine guns that can come into play. They're like light and even heavy machine guns that can be set up. They're not very mobile, but once you're sort of locked in on something and you don't need to change directions or anything, you can just continue to lay down massive amounts of lead off of like belt-fed ammunition sources, and even if you can't hit, the suppressing fire becomes like a real force to be reckoned with.
Beauty.
All right, we did manage to get him. Awesome.
Standing by.
Go ahead and have him pop up. And we kind of fall into a rhythm here, which is pretty realistic of like a kind of a more traditional combat stance. Not really, you know, the previous game on my channel that was sort of militaristic was Door Kickers, and that was a very like SWAT team tactics, like urban kind of environment. This tends to mirror the tactics that you might expect to see in a more traditional battle zone, where we're using things like buddy bounding. We're having, you know, a character move, settle in, take shots, while another character bounds over them, settles in, and takes shots, and they kind of alternate every other turn. That becomes like a really sound tactic, and that's the kind of thing we might expect in more open areas than what we're seeing in a game like Door Kickers. Alright, and that guy, as he ran past the window, we got an interrupt on him, and he was laid out by Grizzly. Awesome. Now, Bull is a little too slow to really be pulling this off well, but he is getting up there. And maybe in like one more turn, he can't get through there, so maybe in like one more turn I think he could probably step in front of this window and get him.
You called?
There's an old saying, I don't know how old it really would be, but there's a saying that fire without movement is a waste of ammunition, and movement without fire is suicide, which kind of demonstrates the tactic of fire and maneuver. The idea that you would have an element shooting while you had another element maneuvering. That is the fire and maneuver going on there. Oh, and you'll see this guy is cowering in fear. That basically means his AP is at 0 right now. We know he doesn't have any left, which would at least tell us that he can't like interrupt anybody that needed to advance on him right now. We can continue to push him.
Standing by.
And the next alert would be pinned down, and that means that he actually has so much negative AP that he won't even be able to act on his own turn. Now, we're probably not going to be able to get him to that point. Just barely grazed him. You'll see that actually hit the wall, went through it, but still hit him. It only hit for 2 damage, though. So the idea behind, you know, a fire and maneuver tactic being that, like, we've got some of our characters that are putting rounds down range, and they're keeping these guys engaged. They're ensuring that they can't move around freely. All of that kind of stuff. While we've got another element that is getting in close to sort of deliver the killing blow.
Standing by.
All right, and this guy
What's up?
knows his time is up. I think we're needing to get... Nope. Shift. There we go. The shift key will allow me to ignore obstacles in the way as I'm trying to position. So it's not that square, but I believe this square that we want to be in. I'll get used to the like two-dimensional sprites representing a three-dimensional world before too long. And he's going to have a very easy shot against that guy.
Well, well, that's the last of them.
All right. So that's going to show you how fire and maneuver works. Basically, textbook examples of an L-shaped maneuver where we have one group taking the shots while another group is maneuvering along kind of at a 90-degree angle, sweeping along the side. Now, let's see how well I remember all of the shortcut keys. Nope, that was not what I wanted to do. Let's see, what did that actually do? Put away his weapon. Oh, man. Oh, well.
Standing by.
There is a shortcut key to do this for me automatically, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. So I want to just pick up his backpack again. That's something that we'd want to do. Now, there's a setting for enemies dropping all loot. I've actually turned that off. Also, I'm going to want to take these guys out of run mode so they don't sprint everywhere they go. Even outside of the turn-based combat, sprinting everywhere is going to cause them to just waste energy, and we don't need to do that. So I did turn off enemies drop all, which means that we're now like playing with a loot table. It doesn't look like anybody dropped anything, which is unfortunate. As I mentioned in the last episode when I was setting everything up, normally I would be playing with enemy drop all. I find it just like, I don't know, more realistic, I guess, that we get the opportunity to get any of the gear that was used against us. But for the purposes of the VLP, I don't think you guys need me sorting through tons of basically useless loot after every single mission, because that is largely what it would be. Also, is that shortcut key I did remember, which is to reload all. Everybody's going to reload here. The magazines are consistent, so like we now have a magazine that is mostly empty sitting here. You can reload even without an empty weapon, and you just produce like a half-full magazine that's now sitting in your inventory. All right, now we're gonna get a little bit of the plot-based stuff going on. We were presented with a letter from Arulco here that we need to present. We don't have any real leads on Miguel, but here's Pacos. This little kid's here.
Never talk to strangers.
That's real good advice, kid. But we're really friendly. Oh no. Okay, well he's scared of us anyway. He runs off. The good news is he ran into this house.
Gotcha.
Which I just already know. There we go. We would have been able to see him anyway. So we're gonna go and check out this house as well. Oh, can we? There's a door like right up front. Can we not use the door? Paco's in the way. Friendly?
Mommy.
Yeah, I know, mommy, but like your mommy's behind you, and I would like to. Oh man. Okay, well, he's gonna be in our way, so we'll walk around him because we're polite. And moving the kid probably wouldn't go over well with his mom. And we'll try talking to her instead.
Why are you here?
Okay, so our actions would be, we can ask her to repeat, we can be friendly, we can be direct, we can be threatening, we can give items, and we can try to recruit them to our cause. Let's go ahead and be direct.
How could it be that you were sent by Arulco? He has been dead for more than 10 years.
Okay, so the rebels believe Enrico Civildore is dead. However, we have a letter from him. So we're going to present this letter to Fatima here as proof.
A letter from Enrico Civildore. He has not forgotten us. Very few people are aware that he's alive. As far as most of the people in Arulco are concerned, he was murdered over a decade ago. We had given up hope of ever hearing from Enrico again. Who would believe that someone living in the comforts of exile would care about this dismal country? Very well then. Follow me. Do not make any quick moves. Miguel's men will be nervous. You do not wish to intimidate them. Deidranna has brutally bombed and attacked us for over 2 straight months.
Alright, so we get some more exposition there. Fatima can lead us to the Rebel Miguel, and we are to follow her. Basically, she's going to be heading into the next sector. She's just going to walk over that way. It's actually going to take several minutes, and so instead of forcing you guys watch us slowly follow a woman, we're going to go ahead and we'll just wrap this episode up here, and we'll pick up next time once Fatima has led us to the rebel leader himself. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to subscribe for more videos daily. Leave a like or a comment if you have anything to say about this or any of my other episodes, and I will catch you guys next time.